Welcome, everyone. Oh, God, that's loud. Thanks, Kevin. I'm going to wake you up. Can I get a roll call, please?
Sure. Mayor Grinder?
Here.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Here.
Commissioner Bloodsworth?
Here.
Commissioner Howell?
Here.
Commissioner White?
Here.
All right, we'll have our invocation by Pastor Steve Langford from the First United Methodist Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, sir.
Shall we pray? Our Father God, we come to you thankful for this day, for the blessing you give to us to serve our community and to be good neighbors. We pray that you would be with the deliberations that take place here tonight, that you would be in the center of what we decide for our city. We thank you so much today for our elected officials who are willing to lead, and for the concerned citizens that are here tonight wanting this place to be a great place to live. So we start off by thanking the police force and the fire department and all of the civil servants that work here in High Springs, but we also thank you, Father, for all of them that serve our country. So we pray that you would be with us tonight, that you would bless us, and that you would bless our city. For we ask all this in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen. Moving on, we will do the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Approval of the consent agenda. Minutes from the February 13th, 2025 commission meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Special presentations. We have new police officers being sworn in tonight.
Can I have the officers come up and soon to be Lieutenant Taylor. That's been officially promoted.
Oh, congratulations.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and Commission. It's an honor to stand before you today as we officially welcome two new officers into our ranks. Swearing-in ceremony it's more than just formality. It's a solemn commitment to serve with integrity, with courage and dedication to the people of this community. This oath of office that these officers will take is just not words recited from tradition. It's an origin that dates back centuries, rooted in the idea that those entrusted with authority must pledge to uphold the law and protect the rights of the people they serve. For law enforcement officers, this oath represents an unwavering promise to act with honesty, fairness, and accountability. Principle that must guide every decision, every action, and every moment on duty. So today, these officers are not just simply joining a department. They're stepping into a role that demands sacrifice, responsibility, and enduring commitment to the public good. They're becoming public servants in the truest sense, bound to protect and serve with integrity, even in the face of adversity. As we move forward, I'm proud to say that our agency remains strong and fully staffed. This is no small task, especially considering that we remain the lowest paid agency in the region. Despite this challenge, our officers continue to serve with unwavering dedication, a testament to their passion for this profession and their commitment to this community. So I would be remiss if I did not take a moment to acknowledge the tremendous support we receive from our community, who stand with us, and our city commission, who remains engaged, and most importantly, to have a city manager who allows the chief of police to carry out his duties without interference. And so ensuring that we can lead effectively and serve honorably. So to our new officers, welcome to the family. Wear this badge with pride, uphold your oath with integrity, and never forget that the trust that has been placed in you. So at this time, we'll have Lieutenant Taylor read a couple bios, and then we'll take the oath of office.
Good evening. All right, to my far left, we'll start with Officer Whiteman. So Officer Whiteman, a native of the Florida Keys, graduated from Coral Shore High School and joined the U.S. Army in 2002 as an airborne infantryman, earning his parachutist badge. He was assigned to the 82nd Airborne Division and deployed to Iraq in 2003 and 2004, earning his Combat Infantry Badge and Global War on Terrorism Medal. In 2009, he graduated from the Basic Law Enforcement Academy in Key West. He then went on to serve the Monroe County Sheriff's Office for 14 years. During his time with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Officer Whiteman completed his bachelor's degree in criminal justice from the American Intercontinental University in 2019. He is also a graduate of the Southern Police Institute 84th Command Officers Development Course, which is a 10-week management course hosted by the University of Louisville. In 2022, he became a recipient of the FBI Law Enforcement Executive Development Association's Award. So that's Officer Whiteman. And next we have Officer Wilson. Officer Wilson is a dedicated professional from Gainesville, Florida, with a diverse background shaped by both military and academics. After high school, Officer Wilson enlisted in the U.S. Army, where he served on a combat deployment conducting route clearance in Syria. He currently holds the rank of sergeant in the Army Reserves. In addition to his military career, Officer Wilson is pursuing higher education with the Associates of Arts degree from Santa Fe College. He is also on track to complete his bachelor's degree at the University of Florida this spring. Outside of work, Officer Wilson enjoys spending quality time with his family, whether it's exploring the mountains or relaxing at the beach. An avid outdoor enthusiast, Officer Wilson has a passion for fishing and scuba diving. When not spending time in or on the water, Officer Wilson can be found at Disney World. That's it.
This time, gentlemen, would you raise your right hand? Repeat after me. When I say I, state your name. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution and the government of the United States and the state of Florida, that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state of Florida and the Charter of the City of High Springs, and I will and will faithfully perform the duties of a police officer for the City of High Springs, which I am about to enter, so help me God. Congratulations, and it is an honor to work with you guys. At this time, if you want to speak, gentlemen, if you want to acknowledge family, or yeah. Okay. Y'all never gonna be chiefs.
Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Okay. All right. We'll move into our next segment, which is recognizing our crossing guards. We'll put this up here. So if we can have our two dedicated crossing guards just come up. I just want to briefly speak that it's very difficult finding people to take on the role of crossing guard. And I've actually tried to push it off to other departments all my career, to Public Works, but I have not been successful. But they are really the hidden heroes in my operation. You see that they protect our most treasured items, which are our kids. They get up and do maybe an hour in the morning, they come back in the afternoon, and they're dealing with people out there driving, which can be a headache even in uniform. And so they're doing the best they can with the traffic. So we're so grateful for them. In fact, I recently got a complaint on our crossing guards. So I answered that person. We looked at it, and no one's perfect at all. But I let that person know that we really, diplomatically I did, we should be grateful for the folks that we have. Our crossing guards are the only, to my knowledge, in Alachua County to actually direct traffic. There is no other crossing. They just stop the traffic and allow those children to come through. So I explained that to the person who was voicing their concerns, and they were very, very receptive to that. So we're very honored to have Mrs. Margaret and you as well among our ranks. I see you guys in the morning. You're taking care of one of my little ones as well. Absolutely. So see you walking every morning, going there and walking back. Yeah. So we're so appreciative of you guys being here. And I just wanted to give you this certificate. And the first one, it says, Mr. David, says, in recognition of our dedication to service, your outstanding commitment to safeguarding the lives and the children in our community, the city of High Springs, appreciate you. So I thank you for your dedication. Thank you, sir.
Put that wherever.
And I'll give you
Put it
all the same
wherever.
opportunity. If you want to say anything, want to acknowledge anybody? No? Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
I like that. That's the way to start a meeting. Thank you all for the new police officers. Thank you for volunteering to keep us safe every night. I know I appreciate it, and my family appreciates it, and to the school crossing guards, my daughter really appreciates it, and I really appreciate it, because I know she is not easy on her little bicycle while she's pedaling down there so hard. But thank y'all for what you do. Thank you. Okay, moving on to unfinished business. We're going to discuss, consider, and act on the FDEP County Road 236 wastewater extension.
Mr. Mayor, the appropriate motion will be to go ahead and proceed with the wastewater extension as provided in the proposal from Midtower and Associates. The amount of the cost on that, and apparently the contractor has said that they'll honor the earlier bid of $1.655,990.37, which is fully granted by the grant proceeds. And actually, there is a construction contingency that is added to that of $167,400. Project management during construction is $87,000, where the total amount of the grant value is $1,910,390.37. That is the now changing the contract, the FDEP grant WG 034 by that amount. And as I said, it's fully funded via the grant. So that's the appropriate motion.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I know we talked about this extensively. Do we have any other questions or comments from commissioners?
Yes, sir. We brought up the question, I believe a question was raised about the impact fees on the individuals. Did we ever find out whether we were going to charge that impact fee since it was a grant? I think you were bringing up the question whether we could even do that since it was grant funded. So what is our answer or result on that?
Since the impact fees are for future expansion of your plant, then impact fees are appropriate, and there's no mechanism to not charge the impact fees. We haven't found a definitive answer on that yet, but I don't believe there's any any exclusion for the impact fees.
Okay. Now, I will say publicly, I contacted a few residents in that neighborhood. Out of the few that I contacted, one was, okay, I realize it's got to happen. I'm not wanting it to happen, but I will accept it happening. So with that being said, everybody I talked to understood what was going on, and they are for getting that system put in. So I'm on board with moving it forward and getting it done.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question also about the impact fees. Are we proposing that we waive the hookup fees? And if so, is that consistent with how we have behaved in the past when we expanded in Southside? Was that, if that was grant funded, did we charge hookup fees to those residents? Are we being consistent with how we're rolling this out?
Mr. Mayor, I did not research that, and I don't know if we've waived hookup fees in the past. I think that is something that would be doable if you decide to waive that. But I don't know how we've handled that in the past.
On Southside, it was grant funded, but it all wasn't, the whole thing wasn't funded. I do believe everybody had to pay a part, and it was, there was payment plans they made with the city. And the impact fees were charged too.
So it wasn't a grant like we're looking at right now?
No, this grant is the same as this grant, but we had to pay previously $400,000 to match this grant. When we turned it down, they came back to us and fully funded it. Everything except for the impact fees. So yes, it's almost the same thing, except this is all funded, even the hookups.
So that's the difference. There's an impact fee, and then there's a hookup fee.
Correct.
And
The
this
hookup-
grant is covering the connection fees.
Correct.
Okay.
My concern with that is that we're not being consistent. I mean, I know this is only 22 homes, but if we charge something to Southside residents, should we not be consistent with how we're rolling this one out, since they were both grant funded?
So a little bit, this is a similar grant, but not an exact grant. This grant covers the connection fee. It's already included in the grant, the connection fee, not the impact fee. So it's already funded, so that doesn't fall on to, it's a way different, a little bit different grant.
So since we would roll it out differently in terms of the financial impact to the residents, Mr. Walker, I guess this might be a question for you. Are we covered legally if we're handling the two projects? And I'm just referencing Southside, there's probably others. Are we covered if we're not being completely consistent?
I don't see an exemption for the impact fee part of it. I'm happy to continue researching it and see if we can get some exemption, but I don't believe there is that.
And the only other question I have would be a request for future. If we could get a full-size set of drawings for me to be able to, I'd come to City Hall and sit on the floor with them, no problem. It's just, I have a really hard time looking at these little tiny numbers.
We can do that.
Sorry, we'll take a look into that, yeah.
We have any other commissioner comments? Any comments from the audience? Okay, we'll entertain a motion at this time.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to move forward with accepting the grant for the wastewater extension.
I second.
Okay, been properly moved and seconded. This is just it's not a roll call, right? Okay. All those in favor of accepting the grant, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right.
Could we get follow-up, though, just in terms of making sure we're being consistent? I mean, I understand the importance of the project, but I want to make sure we're being fair.
And then I guess we should make that, if we're not, then maybe we make it a precedent going forward that we ask for those hookup fees. If that's, I don't know if it was possible back then.
Yeah, so long as we're being consistent, that's
Yep.
all.
Okay. We will move on to citizen requests and comments for issues not on the agenda. Please state your name for the record and limit comments to 5 minutes, please.
My name is Claudia Wolfson. Good evening, everyone. I am the president of the High Springs Garden Club. These are some of the members that have come with me tonight. Our club has been established since 1954. I am here to speak on behalf of our club and the need to have our damaged building repaired. There are approximately 32 members and the club is continuously growing. The building, which was built in 1949, was severely damaged during the last hurricane. A very large pine tree fell on the building, causing the roof to cave in, along with structural damage to the foundation and outer walls. The building is home to the High Springs Garden Club, the Boy Scouts of America, the AANA group. Our garden club building has a working stove, refrigerator, window unit for heat and air, a sink and a restroom. We have a storage area as well as a large room for our meetings with tables and chairs. In July 2024, we were given a $250 grant from Trevent to make improvements on our club grounds. We had finished building a pathway from the parking lot to the front door, which included solar lights. The area behind our building had been cleared up and leveled of debris by a member's husband. We had had trees removed and stump ground. Our members were working hard to have our grounds to represent the beauty of a garden club. We had other plans for the grounds. Everything stopped when the building was condemned from the storm damage. Our garden club is a place for all people, women and men, to come together and enjoy a camaraderie of the love of gardening, nature, education, and new friendship. A place to share knowledge of a common interest. Some people join to have a place to congregate because they are lonely, new to the area, or just want to meet like-minded people. But no matter why a person joins, our hope is to provide them with fellowship and the love of gardening. We are also a member of the Chamber of Commerce of High Springs. We will be working with Amy Buchanan from CRA in replanting the large planters in the downtown area in honor of our veterans, soldiers, and first responders. The Garden Club members put out American flags for Memorial Day, 4th of July, 9/11, and Veterans Day. We are working on plans to design and plant the area in front of City Hall. We understand that the insurance company may not pay for all the repairs to the building. Our hope is that the mayor and city will research every avenue in finding funds for the High Springs Garden Club building. If the outcome from this research means the building remains condemned, we, the members, ask that the city find us another permanent building to use. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely, please.
So the building, we have filed an insurance claim, is it through FEMA? FMIT. And there was so much damage to the building, it's not safe. That's why it's condemned. It's structurally, the walls are structurally unsafe. So FMIT came and they brought all these pallets and stuff and they were gonna replace the roof. Well, you can't replace the roof unless you fix the structural stuff or it's just gonna collapse. And they weren't gonna fix it. So I'm fighting with them and now they're sending an engineer out to take a look at the structural and see how they're gonna fix the walls and then do the roof. It's gonna take a time. However, me and Jennifer Appleby, who's our Parks and Rec director, spoke, I believe it was last week, and we have a couple solutions. She's supposed to be calling you, I think, next week for the three of us to meet to see if any of these solutions will meet your needs. But we are actively trying to find you a home.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
We love the Gardens Club, obviously, and we love anybody who wants to do something in the city of High Springs, and I know it's open to all citizens, and I recommend you guys get out there and if you haven't been to one of their meetings, go. They have really delicious food, I hear, and I'm hoping I get to go to one. That's what they promised me, food, so I'll show up for that. So I hope to go. I hope I am able to attend the next one. Any other citizen comments?
Of the city, can we have an update on what's going on with the priest? I haven't heard anything in a while about the status of the priest.
So the Priest Theater they have to do their plans, and it goes through a separate step because it goes through the historic preservation part of the state, because that's part of the grant. With that, the engineer was doing the drawings, got about 80% of the way through the drawings, and realized that the construction of the walls is not what they thought about, and they had to do, I don't really understand it, but it's a pull test on the walls where they take a pressure pulling inward to see if the walls can sustain what's going on there. They've done that, and we just got the 100% drawings, I believe, the beginning of this week. Is that right, Ashley? And now that's been approved as of today, and Paul Stressing, the engineer, is putting it out the bid so they can start the structural restoration.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, I'm Don Decker. I'm from the High Springs Historical Society, and I just want to give you some updates on what's going on with the Historical Society. And I want to read this from our bylaws because I think there's an issue about what it's all about. The specific purposes of which this corporation is organized include, but are not limited to, the following: to educate and encourage citizens to learn about their regional history during the 1800s and 1900s, to research, acquire, and preserve artifacts and memorabilia of said period, to encourage and support the community in preserving and protecting historically significant sites, natural beauties, and culture of their High Springs heritage, to establish and manage a public museum in which to display the historical artifacts, memorabilia, research, and collections, to provide museum tours for school children, senior citizens, clubs, organizations, and visitors to the High Springs area. The Historical Society is not just about trains. Established in 1987. These are things that we've done recently. We reopened the museum February 15th under new leadership. We rearranged and added displays. We added a new diorama of 1949 era Atlantic Coastline train yard, which is historically accurate. We are working on a separate High Springs Main Street diorama that will display the buildings in the 1949 era. We've also added a Thomas the Tank and Cranky Children's Interactive Train Board. Kids love it. We are currently open every Saturday, 11 to 4, and we are looking for more people to join us so we can expand our hours and days that we are open. We do special tours by appointment, and we do participate in our city festivals with the Chamber of Commerce and all the other activities in the area. And we are planning special events with High Springs with families, speakers, and businesses. So that's about it. I just want to update you.
Thank you so much.
Any questions?
No, we need to come over and see a tour. I'd like to see that, the 49.
And
be awesome.
Saturday,
11 to 4.
Saturday, we'll have the new displays up, and we're working on the Main Street diorama, which is going to be really neat because we got to go talk to Jim Forrester next.
Oh, very cool.
As a Chevy dealer. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Thank you. Any other citizen comments? Rick, you're back in.
Glad you beat me to the punch. Well, my name is Rick Testa. I live here, obviously. And I wanted to share something with y'all that your fine police chief brought to our attention last year sometime. I hope I brought it with me now. Yep. So, if y'all remember, I think all of you were seated when he came in and said, hey, we want to put some cameras up down by the school. Remember that one? And everybody talked about how much it was going to cost and whether it's going to work and all this. And I was here at the meeting. I tried to stay a little bit involved in what's going on. And I'm here tonight to really embarrass myself because the system works brilliantly. I don't remember how much it cost, but you should see the camera image. I didn't even brush my hair that day, so I'm really a little embarrassed, but I just want to say to the new city manager, by the way, that I've donated $100 to the city's budget, or whatever percent the city gets. And the other thing was, okay, so I'm like, what a dummy. I hope nobody finds out that that I did it. I mean, I was going like 8 miles an hour over the speed limit, right? There was nobody there that day. So is that thing on the holiday? Where were the crossing guards when I needed? Anyway, the other thing, and I'm serious about this, I thought, well, now what kind of a hassle is it going to be to pay this? And that's the really good news. There's about 8 different ways to pay this. It took me 2 seconds. And it was all done, no points on my, driver's license or anything. So I'm embarrassed, but thank you, Chief. Good job.
Well, I'll tell you, Rick, just so you're not the only one, I'm pretty sure it got me the other day. I'm just waiting on it in the mail.
I hope you brushed your beard.
I did. I had my hair looking good. I'm sure you could see my bald spot going real good in there. No, those things, Chief, that we really are the forefront in the county to do that, because now I have, I've had 3 or 4 different meetings with GPD when they're asking me how's it working for us, and I tell them, you know what, it's when you get somebody up to say it tangibly has made a difference, because it has. People have slowed down going through there. So it has made a difference, and having, bragging on our crossing guards and on the police force, having a kid who goes to school there and not seeing people fly down there is a breath of fresh air. So that's awesome. Any other citizen requests and comments? Okay. Moving on to new business. Discuss, consider, and act on the employment agreement with City Manager Jeremy Marshall.
Mr. Mayor, this is an employment agreement with our city manager, Jeremy Marshall. It's in substantial keeping with the city manager contracts that we've used in other cities and in this city. The highlights of the contract is that it's a 3-year contract. As I told Jeremy, he lives based upon 3 votes. I live based upon 3 votes, and Angela lives upon the basis of 3 votes. So no matter what your contract says, you're subject to dismissal at all times, either with cause, and with cause is defined in the agreement, or without cause, and which means if you decide. And city manager contracts and city manager positions very interesting in the state of Florida. I'm talking to the League of Cities. General tenure for a city manager is about 3 years on average, about like an NFL football player, really. So it's not an easy profession. I'm sure Jeremy realizes that. It's a 3-year contract, but really it's based upon 3 votes. That's really how this works, and that's the gist of it. I believe the amount is $122,500 base salary. He serves in the performance of the term subject to your approval. He gets cost of living COLA raised just like the other city employees. If you decide to make a cost of living raise for the other employees, of course, he's subject to a merit-based raise if you so desire. You contribute to his ICMA retirement, and that's provided in the agreement. As I said, health insurance is provided to him. His dependents are on his dime, so that part of it. There is a slight automobile allowance. I know we did that for Mr. Booth because I think the city was having problems with the car that we had at that time. So there's that I can find the specific amount, but it's in the contract, and there's a nominal amount that's provided for that provision. There is the termination, Section 8 of the contract's the termination of employment provision. And if he is fired for cause, then he does not get his severance pay. Severance pay under the contract is up to 20 weeks as provided. If he resigns and he's leaving, then he's entitled to a severance pay. Typically, we get a release from the employee when he leaves. Everybody agrees to play nice, that sort of thing, and that's our typical thing that we do in the event of severance. That is the maximum amount allowed under Florida statute. So he cannot get paid more than the 20 weeks in severance pay. There are other items that are provided, PTO, he's entitled to, but there's a cap on the PTO per year. It rolls over year to year, but there is a cap, and again, I can find the exact amount of that, but that's very typical and standard that we've utilized in the past. So that's the summary of the contract. As I say, we can go into it in greater detail if you so choose, but the appropriate motion would be to enter into the employment agreement with Mr. Jeremy Marshall, our city manager.
Do we have any commissioner comments or any discussion about it?
Yes, sir, if I may please, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, the three of us were here throughout the process that we kind of handcrafted. Former Commissioner Williams was part of that group. And that process was comprehensive, it was thoughtful, and in my opinion, incredibly successful. We had some very, very talented applicants, and Mr. Marshall, as soon as we decided to hire him, called and said, well, how soon do you want me to start? Because we all knew when he was interviewing that he had a pre-planned vacation. We could have waited till after the vacation, but he decided to come right away. And started going Mach 10 with his hair on fire as soon as he got here. And he's withstood a lot of personal attacks that I'm sure a lot of people don't know about. A lot of inappropriate personal attacks. And any change in leadership is a challenge no matter what. And I think Mr. Marshall has demonstrated an unparalleled ability to lead. He supports his staff, he encourages their professional development, and he communicates really well with us. I think we're incredibly lucky to have him.
I know I was on the tail end of the hiring as running for the commission seat, and kind of came in on the last end of it when there were 5 and then down to 3. Even though I didn't have a vote, I met all 3 gentlemen that night sitting over there at the old schoolhouse. And I know Jeremy's had to take some heat. I appreciate what he did come here before his vacation, and like you say, y'all didn't have to, you could have waited till after his vacation to get him here. I know personally he's taken attacks because we have discussed and talked about things. As a friend, we become friends. It's unfair, some of the things that he's had to take heat for. It's kind of stupid what he's had to deal with. The cities that was in kind of wrong direction, going in a wrong direction, and he is doing all he can along with our good staff we have to get it on the right foot. I appreciate what you've been doing, and I say continue on.
Do you have any other commissioner comments? I will say that I've been a fan of yours, Jeremy, since you've been here. A lot of people I've talked to have been very pleased, and some people I've talked to are not, and that is, unfortunately, that's the job, you know. So I have been a fan of yours, and I think that we are moving in the right direction as well. And I don't think that all these citizens or all these staff members are standing here for no reason. So let me go ahead and open it up and listen to if any of our staff want to talk or any members of the community.
Hello, how are you today? I'm here for an unfortunate event that happened yesterday. I was in a meeting with Mr. Marshall, my engineer, Chris Potts. I was here with Angela and Christy, and we were discussing some business, and I'm here to speak about a violent event that took place yesterday. We started off the meeting, and I feel that Mr. Marshall was pretty angry about some events that were happening. He was contacted by some state officials that kind of made him upset over some things that we were going through as a development. We tried to explain the situation, and both parties were speaking kind of over each other. And unfortunately, that's when like the aggressive yelling and banging of his fists on his desk started happening. And unfortunately, like I am a survivor of domestic violence, both growing up and in a previous marriage. And it really triggered me substantially. I wasn't really able to work out of my home today. I wasn't really able to concentrate on a lot of stuff yesterday after the meeting. I had to file a complaint with the Alachua County Sheriff's Department. And I'm here to request that the commission start a formal investigation about the city manager's ethical behavior and professional manner that took place during yesterday's attack. And I also will be submitting a formal written complaint to the commission tomorrow. And I just wanted to kind of put my comments and my experience with Mr. Marshall here on record.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Antoine Shepard. I've had the privilege of serving this city over 24 years, 6 years as your police chief. And as the most senior employee of the city of High Springs, I stand before you tonight not out of personal gain or popularity, but out of principle and deep love for my hometown. So I was born and raised here in High Springs, and my commitment to this community runs deep. Over the years, I have witnessed firsthand the impact that stable, effective leadership has on our city's success. That is why I want to express my strong support for City Manager Marshall. Through my time working alongside him, I have seen his dedication, his leadership, his vision for the future of High Springs. He has provided consistent guidance, ensuring that our city moves forward in a positive direction. Leadership is not about making decisions, it's about fostering progressive, inspiring confidence, and creating a stable foundation for growth. If it's our mission to excel, we must recognize that frequent turnover in leadership, it weakens both morale and direction. I saw this too often in the past with the police department, and I know the toll it takes on our organization. Constantly rotating leaders creates instability, it disrupts progress, and it hinders our ability to serve the people of High Springs effectively. So I do not question anyone's intentions here tonight, but I do ask that we consider the bigger picture. Stability and leadership is not just beneficial, it's necessary for us to move forward as a community. So I urge you to support the leadership that has already demonstrated the ability to guide the city in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Anna Weitz, and I am currently serving as the chair of the High Springs Mayor's Youth Council. I am here tonight to unwaveringly state my support for Jeremy Marshall as our city manager. Professionally, Mr. Marshall is the prime example of competence. Throughout my time on the Youth Council, he has never failed to be present at a meeting. He constantly contributes meaningful ideas and supports the council in all of our endeavors. He is always searching for new opportunities, resources, and grants for the council. I'm confident in saying that he leads his team at the city in the same fashion. This is the kind of leadership that transforms cities and transforms cultures. Personally, I have come to know Mr. Marshall as an inspiring and hilarious person. His demeanor fits our city. He is welcoming and warm-hearted, something that High Springs has been since its beginning. To make any kind of claim that Mr. Marshall is not an ideal citizen or employee for our city implies a mistaken personal view and can only be explained by the misfortune of not knowing his character and his leadership skills. It is with this information that I hope to impart the incredible gift our city has been given with the blessing of Mr. Marshall for our city manager. He is eager to learn and one of the most humble people I've ever met. As the chair of the Mayor's Youth Council, I hope you can understand my direct professional involvement with Mr. Marshall and the competency he has shown me and all who have met him. I also have something from our previous chair of the council. He was unable to be here tonight, but he wanted to say this for Mr. Marshall. Jeremy has been there for the Youth Council in the city since the start. In my time with him, he has been nothing but amazing. At a time when many might have questioned the Youth Council and say why, Jeremy would always respond with why not. Everything he does for others. He's extremely caring, and it shows in his attitude and work. Jeremy is a man that I am proud to have been able to work with, and it would be foolish to not let him continue to work for the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda Jones. I agree wholeheartedly with the two previous speakers. I object strenuously to someone coming up and lodging a complaint against the city manager without having put forth a complaint. You hear one side of the story, and I think it's very inappropriate. Thank you.
Janet Evans. I would like to say that when Mr. Marshall was being interviewed at the time, the number one priority for me was fiscal responsibility. Our city was in a very, very precarious situation regarding our money. And what had disturbed me greatly was about 3 years prior, when government money was assigned to our city in the form of ARPA money to help us through COVID expenses that we incurred. The very first order of business in the prior administration was to give every city employee a generous bonus. Now, these were folks, I know we got good people here, and that's not the issue. More than $400,000 was given to city employees, every city employee, on the direction of 4 employees with the city, not approved by the commissioners. So I was furious. And it was especially important to me a couple of months ago to come to the meeting and see how the remainder of that ARPA money was going to be distributed. Well, let me tell you what a breath of fresh air that one of the very first items that Mr. Marshall presented to us was paying down our debt. He also had other itemized, very, very thorough information, prioritizing different things that would be really important for our community, and gave such a transparent presentation, which I've sat in on the budget meetings as well. I am so pleased with the transition that our whole city government has made as a direct result of the job Mr. Marshall has done. Hats off. It's a tough job, and you have really, really made a serious contribution to our city.
First of all, thank you to everyone who said such kind words about Jeremy. It means a lot to me. I know I'm probably not the best person to speak tonight because I'm clearly biased because Jeremy is my husband. However, I gave up a 22-year public sector career in New York that I absolutely love to move to High Springs because I truly believe in my husband and everything that he brings to the table. Those few residents that like to bring up his past against him to say he is unfit to lead the city are mistaken. He is by nature a leader. His military career, complete with many honors and achievements, including a Purple Heart, show his leadership record. Then after his military career, he was the director of our Veteran Services Agency for our county, a county that has more veterans than this city has residents. He was listed in the Rochester Business Journal's 40 Under 40, which honors young professionals with successful careers, which is not an easy task for a public sector employee. He was also the Service Officer of the Year for New York State, and there's a bunch of other accolades that are just as important, but he's too modest to ever talk about them. In response to those interested in Jeremy's bankruptcy, we just love having our worst financial event published in the local newspaper with no context. For backstory, in 2019, our 14-year-old son died by suicide, and he was found by our 17-year-old daughter when she came home from school. Our family was absolutely devastated and broken, to say the least. To put it mildly, we were barely functioning and the bills started to pile up. And after speaking with an attorney, Jeremy made the difficult decision to file Chapter 13 bankruptcy. He needed to get a clean start financially, and we needed to start moving on with our lives. Our family is resilient, and we have made it through. I ask to please stop bringing up the bankruptcy. It has no bearing on his ability to do his job. Jeremy is fiscally responsible, and he knows the budget process. This year's millage rate was actually reduced, and that stuff does not just magically happen. Personally, I'm sick of the few residents trying to grasp onto anything to keep themselves relevant in this community. Instead of using their voices for good, they wrongly drag my husband's name and integrity through the mud. They spout off fake truths, and they try to manipulate others to join them, but the problem is that they don't know any of the facts. Jeremy is an honest, transparent leader, and perhaps this is something they aren't used to. Enough is enough. He is a good person and wants nothing but the best for the citizens of High Spring. Yes, he has high expectations of city employees, and no, he won't bow to grown adults throwing temper tantrums. This should be commended and not villainized. There's a small group of residents in this great community. Oh, do I have to stop?
Yes, ma'am.
I was right at the best part, but okay. Anyways, thank you. And I just want to make High Springs great, and I do feel that my husband will help to get us to that point. Okay, sorry, thank you.
So I'm April Roberts. I'm your utility billing manager. I want to mirror everything that everybody has come up here and said about him, except for one. As a previous domestic abuse survivor, I have worked with this man day in and day out, and not once have I been afraid of him. Not once has he lost his temper. Not once has he showed anything other than caring, kind words of do better. I see potential. How can I help you? He comes and says hi. He stops to see what we need. Please let him continue to do this, because we are in such a better place now than we were a year ago before we had him. Thank you.
I wasn't planning on speaking, but I was compelled to after hearing Chief Shepard. When the city manager interviews were taking place, I was tasked by the commission to give the final two candidates a tour of the city. As soon as Mr. Marshall got into my vehicle and we started the tour, I knew instantly he was the right fit for this city. He is strong, he is confident, and he is competent. This is the kind of leadership that this city needs right now. He holds his people accountable. He demands excellence from everybody. That is how you manage a city effectively. He sees value in his employees. He sees value in his community. He works hard to make the city of High Springs a destination place for future residents and a destination for city workers. He understands the value of public safety. He understands the value of investing in his people. He has worked hard with the fire department, with the chief and myself, to get raises for the paramedics, the world-class paramedics that we have in this city. No other municipality outside of Gainesville has their own police and fire department. He continues to invest in it. You as a commission continue to invest in it. We have paramedics that are dedicated, standing behind me, that are finally getting the pay that they deserve because of Mr. Marshall and because of Chief Peters. This is the man that you want to guide this city into the future. You have him right now. We need to hold on to him. He is investing in his people. He's investing in his family. He is investing in the city. He is the man for this job.
Rick Testa again. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I have a whole list of things I was going to read off about our new city manager. He's been here a year, but all I can say now is if he made Miss Evans happy, that's all.
Rick, you're 2 for 2 tonight, Rick. I'm still trying to make Miss Evans happy.
Mr. Mayor, I'm gonna add to it, and I'm gonna piggyback off what the Chief Shepherd said. The stability and longevity is important for the success of the city. With the longer contract, it allows for our city manager not to have to worry about a contract every year. It gives him confidence to work on other things. And I got a little quote, and I think that it's happening, and I think it's happening because of this commission and the city manager as well. And it says something along the lines of, coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success. And I think that if we can continue down the path that we're on, we can make High Springs successful. So.
Any other citizen comments?
Mr. Mayor, it would be my honor to make a motion that we approve the 3-year contract with Mr. Jeremy Marshall and enjoy the successes that he is bringing as we look in this room filled with employees whose lives are better because of him.
I second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to extend the contract with the city manager to a 3-year deal. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Now, can I ask a question?
No, sir. Absolutely.
The question I just had is, why is it that we don't do yearly assessments on our charter offices? Like, is that something that we can actually implement?
We do.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that because I didn't do one for Ashley.
No, we do.
And I never was.
We're supposed to, yeah, we do.
All right.
Yeah, I think we knew where that was going.
Vice Mayor Miller, I usually send it out in August or September. I'll send you an email with the form and ask you to have it in by October 1st. But if you want, I can instead, if it's easier, I can print them, and so you can fill them out and put them in your box, if that's easier.
Gotcha. You want to save it for your report, or you want to just get it out now? Go ahead. We're going to be here for a while.
No. First, I'd like to thank the commission and continued support and faith that you have in me as we move to the city. It's not an easy job, and to be honest, it's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
Amen.
But people ask me throughout my career, military and all, what is your greatest leadership accomplishment? And I could tell you my biggest leadership accomplishment tonight is tonight. Having the staff that I lead take time out of their night. None of them are being paid. I didn't tell any of them to show up here, and I didn't. I will be honest, I asked Antoine to say a few words on my behalf. The rest is them. When you have a team that's talent and was starving for leadership, and they get it, they flourish. Morale is high. Training and opportunities of growth are high. this city will do nothing but get better in the direction we're going. This tonight, looking out and seeing, I got firefighters here, public works, every department I think is represented here. That is my biggest leadership challenge to this day. I walked in here, boy, after those first 2 weeks before I went on my vacation, put a lot of thought on whether I was coming back. I'm not gonna lie. I did not realize it was that bad. But a wise man once told me, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And that's how we do it. We handle what we can affect. We change what we can. And again, it goes down. My staff's so tired of hearing about this. But I have a three-pronged decision-making process. Is it moral, legal, and ethical? If it's not, it dies there. Will it benefit the city and the organization as a whole? And at the end of the day, if it got challenged, would I have the support of 3 commissioners? I don't make the decisions based off my personal. I do it as a collective of the 5 commissioners who are elected to lead this community. I will continue to work with staff. We have tremendous talent in this staff. And with a little bit of tweaking here and there, we will have a highly effective, high-performing organization. Yeah, I get to be the leader of it. That's great. But I'm going to tell you, without the talent and the dedication of that staff that's standing out there right now, I would 100% failed in this endeavor. My staff, I will go, and I've talked to all my department heads. I will back them all the way to the day you guys fire me. We are going to do good things. I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
3 more years, baby.
All right, moving along to the final new business item. Discuss, consider, and act on providing fire services at Pioneer Days.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, this is about safety for the event, for the Chamber of Commerce. It's nothing more, nothing less. It's all about providing a good quality safety component to this event. This event's one of the larger events. 2,000 to 5,000 people show up for this event. And for me, to rely on the fact that the fire department's right across the street, the fact of the matter is we can't guarantee that those men and women will be in that station when an emergency occurs in that event. My fear is if that happens and our guys are not in the station, a long delay could happen in EMS transport and cause someone to lose their life, or get seriously hurt. So it's never been about the $60 per hour per person. It's been more about providing the services that I feel they need to make sure that their guests and the residents that come to that event are safe. It's about what it is. So.
I just have one thing before we get deep into this. Last meeting, it was stated that in the meeting that we had about the fire before, not this meeting, but last year and the previous year, that it was not stated that fire was not required. We all got this email sent to us in our box by Ms. Sue Weller, letting us know that in the records it was stated that it was not required. I remember quite a bit, so normally when I say I remember something, I remember it. So I just wanted to put that on record that it was stated that we did not need the fire department. That was 2 years.
April 26th, 27th, and 28th, 2024 Pioneer Day breakdown from last year. The second line item is fire department, 2 firefighters, 2 days, times $60 an hour, 7 hours one day, 6 hours the other day with an X, and at the very end it says chamber to pay. So this was discussed at that meeting. Obviously I was not at that meeting. I was not there, but on paper, and this is in your packet, on paper, this item was discussed, and it was chosen, and from my understanding is, the chamber chose not to use our services on the auspices that we were right across the street. That's
Yes,
to my
because
knowledge.
the former fire chief, which is not you, he stated that it was not required because they were right across the street, which I said last meeting. So I really don't know why it's a back and forth. That's what was stated. And all I was saying is that was made clear in that meeting, that he stated it was not required, and the chamber said, okay, and then we just went with it. But it wasn't a thing of saying the chamber didn't want to pay. It was more so Bruce had said it wasn't required, so everybody said, okay, we're going with that.
Okay.
Because he was
Understood.
the fire chief at the time.
That's a mistake on his part. I'm sorry. I got to put it out there. This
Mr.
event is too big not to have medical standby there. It really is.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, I wasn't referring to this particular event. I
Right.
just wanted to be on record that I did, when I made the statement, that the statement was correct
Okay.
in last meeting.
Okay. Yeah, understood.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I mean, we've been talking about changes in leadership. Chief Peters is the chief now. He says we need it, we need it. I mean, I remember exactly what Mr. Vice Mayor is talking about. The one request I would have is that, since it was something of a late in the game item for the budget, would it be possible to give the chamber some grace and maybe let them pay for that over 3 months, or give them some kind of payment? I don't know.
I don't have a problem with that. It's like I said, this is not about the fire department making money.
Right.
When you break down the firefighters' overtime rate, because that's what they'll get is overtime rate,
Right.
plus their FRS retirement and their benefits and everything else, we actually lose money, kind of, in this whole event. We don't make money off that $60 per hour. And I don't have a problem spreading those payments over an extended period of time. Diana, is that okay? Okay. Yeah, I don't have a problem doing that. Not at all.
My only concern about spreading it at all is that goes against consistency. And we did ask for consistency earlier. If we're gonna be consistent, let's be consistent across the board for the way we operate, whether it's a chamber
I
event
don't know
or
that they
a
paid
garden.
for it in the past. That's the thing.
So
I don't believe they have.
Right.
So
This is new.
I'm totally on board with consistency. Okay. And I talked to, I don't know if Sharon's here, but I talked to her to, hey, Sharon. And I talked to her today just to see if she needed any data, any information I can help you with tonight. While I'm on board saying it's inconsistent, this is something that she came to me and she's like, I just don't think I'm going to have the money if I'm going to have to pay it. For a one-time exception, I would be in favor of doing it over 3 months, so they can better budget next year for the fire department. It was something they didn't budget for. They didn't know that when they moved to the new place, that, you know, firefighters are not gonna be across the road. They're gonna be, you know, we're further away. We need 2 dedicated ones. And in the past, before I was here, before Chief Peters was here, it was done a different way. We're doing things the right way, and I think that they should be paid for. However, I would really encourage letting them pay it over 3 months for this one-time exception. But I understand the consistency, but this was a breakdown of communication. Me and the chamber, I have worked hard on increasing in communication since I've been here. We meet regularly, and she just didn't know, and I think it's gonna cut him short. I think we can do a 3-month payment plan this one time.
What's the total cost of it?
Do you know what the total cost is?
I don't have
So
it.
it's 60, wait a minute, it's $60 by 13
120
hours.
hours.
How many hours?
$120 an hour times 13 hours.
Yeah.
15,
That's
16.
quite a bit.
Yeah. The chamber's got, I'm not gonna air their business
Yes.
out, but
Okay.
their
Thank you, ma'am.
checking account is a little bit low. I think this event is important to the community. It brings a lot of people in, and for this 1 year, I think it's if you feel so inclined, it's appropriate to allow them to pay it one time so they can budget for it better next year.
Mr. Mayor.
Sir.
Ms. Sharon, can you step up to the podium? With what city manager's projecting here, are you okay with the 3-month
Yes, it
process?
would
Will
really
that be
help us a lot.
doable for y'all?
Mhm.
Okay.
But can I say something else? I mean, am I allowed to?
Yes, ma'am. Talk about you.
Well, we wasn't without, for 2 years, we didn't pay it, but we had medical people on staff with us. Catherine had a couple, and then I had some too, because we have the medical centers here in town. And so they came and they volunteered. So we wasn't just out there with nothing. We had them there, and I don't think you knew that.
I didn't know that,
No, but we did. She had like, what, 4 people? And we had about that many too, but they came and they volunteered. But they also advertised for their business too. I mean, because they were
Absolutely.
just coming into town, so we traded that out. So we would never do it without having some kind of safety net there. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And I agree, I don't want, when I'm asking for the consistency part of it, I don't want you to think, Ms. Decker, that that's a shot at the chamber or anything else. I just think if we're gonna ask the citizens to be consistent, I think we as a commission need to be consistent as well. And I understand the new thing, so honestly, I struggle. I'm like 50-50. I'm not even gonna lie
No,
to you.
I
I'm
understand
completely
that.
50-50
And
with
I mean,
it.
we would gladly do it if we had it.
Right,
but,
I know that, for sure.
I mean, it's the way it is.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you.
So, I mean, that's where I'm at. I'm a little 50-50 with it. I do appreciate that, Chief Peters, I do appreciate that we are pushing this because I think it is pivotal that we have our staff that are
Yeah,
there
we do
to-
it for the larger events too.
Yeah.
Like BMX, they always pay.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
I definitely think we gotta pay. We're not set up as a city at this point financially to just give away.
Mhm.
And you're right, we lose money.
Mhm.
You know, I sit in those overtime meetings in Gainesville a lot, and there's a lot of money lost whenever you give that benefit out to the city a lot.
yeah, for me, it's really not about the money. It's about making sure that the citizens and the guests to their event are safe.
Absolutely.
That's
I mean,
really
we
what it's all
pull,
about.
Ms. Decker, what do we pull, 5,000-10,000 people every year at least?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's consistent. It is, and it's crazy down here, and it's a heck of a good time. Do we have any,
So,
sorry.
Mr. Mayor, I apologize.
No, go ahead.
I would, I want to say that the Chamber does a lot for the city, especially with that event. And I know financially things are not great for the city, but is there any way we can help them financially, half the cost or something along those lines? I don't know.
You can. So what staff is proposing, we're pretty by the book. This is what it says. This is what we need and whatnot. Chamber does great things for his community, and they're struggling financially now. That's why I said maybe the 3 months. However, as a commission, you can waive it, you can reduce it, you can make a payment plan. It's what you want to do. You have the mechanisms, and I can coach you through it. But if you got an idea it's a win-win, I'm all for it.
Ms. Decker, when is it again? When's the Pioneer Days?
May 10th.
May 10th?
10th and 11th of
Okay.
May.
And Mr. Scott, this would be an issue that I would not be able to vote on because I am a sitting advisory board member on the chamber.
It really does not inure to your own private gain on this. It's your election to vote or not, so that's to your decision-making. But there's nothing that you do that is going to affect you personally, your financial side of it, one way or the other. So I don't see it as a conflict of interest because nothing here would inure to your private gain, Commissioner Miller. So you can vote on it or not. But if you feel strongly that this is conflicting you ethically, you certainly have the ability to not vote.
Yeah, I think I'll choose not to because, like I said, I'm heavily involved in Pioneer Day. This is like my event, so I'm heavily. So.
And just so I know as well, you have fees for the businesses, right? For the chamber, the businesses pay fees, and are you allowed to take donations as well? Sponsorship, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're 6, we can.
Okay.
And we do take them. Believe me, they help us out.
I would not be a fan of changing or waiving it or any of that strictly because we already have gone over the fact that the rent is free for the chamber. We do a lot. We do what we can. I wish we could do a lot more for everybody, but we do what we can. And I'm not a fan of waiving fees on things like the safety part of it and we're not financially there. I just don't think we're financially there at the time. But if there's no other commissioner comments, we'll open it up for citizen comments on this matter.
Thomas Weller. I'm sure you miss my wife. I know I do. She's with FEMA now in Tallahassee. Jeremy, congratulations. Scott, nice seeing you.
Good to see you, Tom.
Commissioners, my first office was in Homestead. It probably took about 7 years before I joined the chamber. I was very much involved in the chamber there for the remaining 13, 14 years I was there in Homestead. I came here early believing in chambers of commerce, and I got involved in our Chamber of Commerce. I've been leading them. I've been on the boards for many, many, many years. For the last 4, 5, 6 years, I haven't been on the board. But I know about chambers of commerce. The mission of the High Springs Chamber of Commerce is to provide, this is from their website, is to provide leadership, vision, encouragement, and success for our community and businesses, as well as to promote tourism. I have several questions for you. What does the commission do to advertise the reasons to visit High Springs? To my knowledge, nothing. What special events does the commission hold to raise interest in someone so that they and others would want to visit High Springs? To my knowledge, nothing. We have the Springs, great. I've heard German accents and stuff around town. Sometimes they get into town. Would you agree with me that bringing people from outside the city to the city may have a positive effect upon the business of High Springs and thus the vitality of High Springs? Would you agree with me that a vibrant downtown is vital to the life and desirability of visiting a small town? I've talked with a lot of visitors to the city during these events. Matter of fact, I do that generally. If I see people looking in windows, wondering what's going on, you visit, and I talk to them. I've heard them say that they had a good time. They would like to come back and visit our town. Not recognizing the value of the chamber, and I realize from some of your comments that you do, maybe not to the extent that I do, but not recognize the value that the chamber brings to the vitality of a community is a great financial oversight. In a similar way, not supporting the development of the youth in our community is also a great oversight. By charging these groups, you are doing a great disservice to the community, its businesses, and our future. I have no problem with charging for the use of the Civic Center and similar venues. In the letter that Sue sent, she stated that she would hope that you would waive the fees, at least for this year. Perhaps next year you can charge. I never knew I talked that much. I hope you will reconsider. Next time you get to see Sue.
Any other citizens' comments?
Bruce Gillingham. So I did not stand up here in front of this commission last year and say that we did not need to do this. I was not even here last year. So point of clarification on that. The year prior to that, we were talking funding for Pioneer Days. I said it was not required. It was something that we needed to do because it was for a betterment for our community. It was a good event for our firefighters to be out there in front of the public. And that was what we chose to do last year as fire chief here. So I just want to have some clarity with that. I did not stand up here last year. I was not your fire chief during this event last year, nor did I condone not staffing that event. There's a lot that goes into that event. There's fire inspections that are required pre-event. There's a lot of walkthrough that goes through that event, and there's a lot of people that come through town on that event, and you can't manage it from the fire station across the street. There's just too much traffic. So I'm here. Y'all said I wasn't here to have any conversation. I'm here. If you have any more questions, I'll be more than glad to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I think that's it. We'll entertain an idea of what to do.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve going forward with Chief Peters' recommendation to staff the event, and that we allow the chamber to pay for that over a 3-month period, since it was an unexpected expense. And that's all.
I second that.
Okay. It's been properly moved and seconded that we move forward with charging the chamber for over 3 months for the staff, the fire staff. All those opposed, say aye. I'm sorry, what did I do wrong? Why'd you look at me like that?
No.
Why'd you look at me like that? What did I do wrong? I know I bumbled that up a little bit, but good. Catherine gave me that look like, oh, no, not again. Did I do anything wrong?
No, you just asked for the nose first. That's just different.
Oh, did I say no first?
Yeah, it's okay.
So I did do something wrong.
No,
Just tell me
it's
what I
okay.
did.
Whatever you prefer.
Rick, you got one more for us? They laugh more when you do it. All right, so I got to ask for yeses.
No, you can do whatever you want.
No, I'm going to ask for yes. That's what we do. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. How'd I do?
Great. Good job.
Oh, Lord, it's been a week. All right, city attorney report.
Nothing to report, Mr. Mayor.
That's why I like you, Scott. That's why I like you. City manager.
Legislation days is coming up. The League of Cities is doing a bus. They need a minimum of 25. If you want to ride the bus, it leaves at 6:30 in the morning, I think, from Alachua. If you want to ride that bus round trip, it won't cost you anything. Please get with Ashley Malden, and she will make sure that your name gets on that bus. And Commissioner Howell and I sat in on a legislation meeting. There is some legislation that I'm working with the lobbyist, and we will be work together with Commissioner Howell to bring legislation that I think the city needs to either formally endorse. Actually, I don't think there's any of them we want to endorse. I think we want to oppose all of them.
All of them? I like it.
So we will draft up letters for the commission to hopefully oppose some of the stuff that Commissioner Howell and I think will not benefit the city. And that is all I have.
Okay. Commission comments and concerns.
I have nothing.
Congratulations, Jeremy, on the contract. I know you and I have not been agreeable on everything, but we can agree to disagree once in a while and still continue on. I appreciate your job. Thank you.
That's a sign of good relationship
Yes,
right
sir.
there.
I just got a couple of things. I wanted to put out there that we had talked about updating the LDC and the comprehensive plan. Are we putting out an RFP to get the LDC updated?
Yes.
We are, so
Okay.
something that's new is we have just signed a contract with a new platform that allows us to do online bidding. So we're going into the 21st century, and we're going to do online bidding, and with this, it reaches out to more people who may be interested in it. We're really struggling with like a special magistrate, and there's got some on there. But the LDC, Christie has finished up the final draft, and it will be going out a couple weeks.
Okay.
Need the final wording, then we'll post it and we'll drop
Okay.
it.
So, yep.
And while we have some firefighters here, I just wanted to publicly acknowledge George Tatum, Brian Langston, and even Mr. Alan Alligood got out of his office They responded very quickly to a structure fire today. They were on site within 3 minutes. There wasn't a whole lot of videotaping going on because even Kevin was working on the fire. So I want to thank the fire department for their quick response. I heard a lot of it working on my front porch today. And I said something to Mr. Marshall, but I want to make sure I let everybody know that the chamber held a mixer here at a new business here in town, right next door to the old olive oil place. Lovely, lovely people. And they made sure to let me know that both Christy, all right, she's not even here, is she?
No, she's not planning.
She's in another meeting, and Captain Pearson were pivotal, and they were incredible to work with, and they made it an absolute joy to open a new business, and that's great to hear.
That is good.
And that's all I've got.
Right.
All right, the employee of the week this week is Kyle Livingston. He came up with an idea for PDSD sympathy cards. And so now we offer, if anybody has a traumatic experience, this is something new that we do here in the city of High Springs. I just had one quick question for you, Mr. Jeremy. When we have meetings with organizations, are there any minutes done?
No.
All right, because that's something that I think we should start looking at.
That would become, doing minutes with the meetings with organizations would become public records. That's why there's no agendas and no meeting minutes for, because it's not an official public meeting, it's meeting with organizations. Does that sound right, Angela? Did I say that right?
We would put out an agenda, and then if you wanted one of us to attend, we could attend and take minutes or a recording and then type minutes.
That's not just, it's not a common sorry, it's not a common practice.
I attended the Alachua League of Cities with Commissioner Bloodworth and Commissioner Howell the other night. I think we were the best showing city.
Good looking anyway.
That's for sure. That's for sure. A lot of beef in there with Chad and I up there. That was actually pretty informative. It was actually the first time going, so almost embarrassing to say, but it was good to just kind of meet with everybody, and I think 7 of the 8 cities showed up. I think Micanopy's the only one who wasn't able to attend, and it was good to meet elected people from other areas. Other than that, I don't have anything. Oh, we have the Alachua County Livestock Fair, which will have numerous kids from our town here in showing animals all weekend. That's actually why I'm like discombobulated, because I'm already thinking about getting up in the morning, getting a pig, getting it weighed in. If you'd ever asked me, growing up the way I did, if I'd be wrestling around a 250-pound pig trying to get it into a pen, I would say no. But I have now become well-versed at dealing with that. So good luck to all the kids from the city who are going to be out there. And last year, one of our kids, he's in an unincorporated area, he won grand champion for the cow all the way to the city or the state, and I think he won it there too. He did a heck of a good job last year. So hopefully we got one of those that continues on this year. So good luck to all those kids. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.